right, here we go. Sarah here. Welcome back to another episode of You're Fucking Welcome. Today, I want to dive into something that I know is a huge pain point for many of you, and that is sales copy. More specifically, sexy sales copy. I want to talk about hacks, some of the things that I do that are really helpful when it comes to writing sales copy. And I'm talking whether this is a sales page, whether it's an email, whatever it is, writing that sales copy that actually makes people pay attention and actually gets people to move, take action, and buy, because of course, that's what we all want here. And I know that when we want that, it can be really easy to write copy in a way that maybe is a little bit watered down, maybe is a situation where you're trying to talk to too many people because you want the sale and you're trying to make sure that you're not, leaving certain people out. There's a million different reasons that people struggle with copy. And so again, I wanted to break down 3 hacks that I find really helpful for myself. And of course, hopefully helpful for you as well. Before I get into that, I want to let you know that I have just opened the doors to You're Fucking Welcome, the program. Now, this is a program that I had run probably the last time, I think it was 2021, and I'm redoing it, the entire thing. And I'm really excited about that because I'm making sure that it is a sales-oriented program. And we are going into the nitty-gritty of essentially how to sell, but more importantly, how to sell authentically, powerfully. I am really proud of the fact that on one hand, I feel like I talk about selling all the time. On the other hand, I don't feel like I'm a sales expert at all, in the sense that I'm not teaching you how to do this script, take my script and read it verbatim when you get onto sales calls. I'm not teaching you how to slide into people's DMs and bullshit them into believing that you actually care about what they have going on and that you want to be friends with them only so you can flip the script and start selling to them. That is not what I do. It's not what I've ever done. And it's not what I believe in. I believe in, which is really the whole core philosophy around You're Fucking Welcome, is number one, being just completely confident and anchored in the thing that you are selling, right? I have very little patience for people who are trying to sell something that they don't know what the thing is. We have to be clear, confident, certain about the thing that we are actually offering in the first place if we expect to effectively sell it. And so that's the first part, really getting clear and anchored in who we are, what we do, and why we are worth paying, essentially. And the second part is being able to share it authentically, but maybe a little bit strategically to the masses. And so what I mean by that is that when I am, sharing something like a program like You're Fucking Welcome, I'm doing my best here to just literally talk to you like you're my friend. And I'm just sharing to you why I think this program is so important, why I'm so excited about it. I'm not, sitting there being overly strategic about what it is that I'm saying to you, as much as I'm just speaking from the heart, balanced out with I'm going to infuse a little bit of strategy in the sense that I have to be smart about speaking to what it is that you want, right? It is my job, as I've said a million times, our ideal clients are on island A. They want to be on island B. It is our job as the marketer, as the salesperson, to showcase the fact that we are in fact the boat to get somebody from island A to island B. And so again, I'm going to be strategic and smart about the fact that I am sitting here speaking to that person who right now, maybe they feel like they're annoying their audience when they market themselves, whether that's, on Instagram, email, whatever it is. Maybe I'm speaking to that person right now who was taught to sell in a really icky way. And so now they have a bad taste in their mouth about selling. And that therefore is causing them to not do it consistently. That person who is, again, not right now selling consistently, selling strategically and effectively and powerfully and confidently and authentically, you are my person. You are the person who needs in on this program, because I'm going to teach you how to do the art of sales, how to master the art of sales in a way that feels aligned and right to you without you feeling like you're abandoning yourself, but we're also being strategic and smart about how you're doing it. I am doing this program for $500. I don't know how to express to you what a value that is. Normally, and actually, if I'm being totally transparent with you, up until Sunday night, I thought I was going to sell this program for $1,000 because that's always what my live programs are. But something just didn't feel right to me about it. And I think the biggest reason that it didn't feel right is because I truly, this sounds a little bit corny and cheesy, but I feel like I'm on a mission to give the women of the world permission to sell. I feel like all of us need to embrace the fuck out of the fact that yes, we're business owners. Yes, we make money. We're not fucking sorry for that. And just owning that completely. And so that person right now who is probably not making that much money because they're probably not selling, I feel like I need to take a stand for helping that woman. And so I wanted to make it as accessible as possible $500, I can't express to you enough, is as accessible as it gets, especially for a live program. So we have 4 weeks of calls, 4 weeks of trainings rather, and then we have Q&A after it. We have a private Facebook group where you can ask me questions, but I'm going through everything that I believe you need to know to sell effectively. So everything from who you are, your foundation, and what you stand for, so you can really share that confidently, to really unfucking your sales mindset, kind of getting over the stories and the beliefs that you have around selling. We'll talk about money mindset. We're going to talk about sexy sales copy. That's an entire lesson of the program. We're going to go into sales pages. We're going to go into emails, posts, everything, no stone left unturned. And then we're going to talk a lot about pitching, pricing, all of that, because, what I want to say too, is that if you know how to pitch, you know how to pitch everywhere. Right? Like, I think a lot of people, when they learn how to pitch, they're learning it based on like, okay, here's how to do it on a webinar. Here's how to do it on a sales call. And you're learning it as if it's like this script. And then you go to do the next thing, like pitch on Instagram. And you're like, oh God, I don't know what to do. Pitching is a really simple 3-step formula. It's a really simple 3-step formula that you can apply anywhere to whatever you do. And so I'm going to break that down for you and teach it to you in a lot of depth. And so again, $500 is a fucking no-brainer price, beyond a no-brainer price. There's a payment plan option of 6 weekly payments of $100, as well as a monthly payment plan. As usual, the extended payment plan expires this coming Friday night. So Friday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. We start next Tuesday. So sarah-dan.com to get all of the details on that. But truly, I'm saying this in a harsh way, but like, if you are not selling confidently right now, it's inexcusable for you not to get in at this price point. Like, truly inexcusable. I really feel like this will transform your business. And so please do yourself the favor of getting in there before we start, so you can finally learn how to sell confidently and effectively. Okay. So if we're going back to sexy sales copy for a moment, I want to give you 3 hacks that, like I said, they work well for me, and I believe that will work well for you as well. So the first thing, you know how it's said, I think this quote is typically attributed to Ernest Hemingway, but I feel like that's actually inaccurate when I Googled it. So I don't know who the hell said this, but the point is it has been said that you should write drunk and edit sober. And I think about this a lot when it comes to my own copy, just in the sense of it's this 2-step process. I write as the coach, but I edit as the marketer. So what I mean by this is that if I am sitting there creating a program, I'm writing a sales page or whatever it is, I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to sell to people, and I'm, breaking down the lessons. I'm going to sit there and create the program and format the program and like decide what happens based on what I think is the most purposeful thing to do to get you to Island B. As I was sitting around the other night adjusting how I'm going to do You're Fucking Welcome this time around, I was really sitting there as the coach, feeling like, what is the order of all of this? How do I present this information? How do I take people through this journey in a way that's going to be the most impactful and effective for them? And so again, I was planning as the coach, planning as the person who wants to get you the greatest transformation that I possibly can. But then I had to go back through everything that I had written with a fine-tooth comb and edit it like the marketer. So what I mean by that is, if I sit there and said, I'm just going to use a basic example here. If I'm telling you on a sales page that in You're Fucking Welcome, you get a Facebook group during the course of the program, that's fine. I can sit there and say, okay, you get a Facebook group. It's my job as the marketer to go back through that and make sure that that you understand what is in it for you when it comes to the Facebook group. Every single point that I make, I want to be a results-oriented point, because as I've said to you many, many times, people are selfish. People are selfish. This is the most basic, but the most important marketing rule that you could possibly keep in mind for yourself, because literally it's so simple, but it says so much. This is where you don't give a shit that you get a Facebook group. You give a shit that you get a Facebook group in this program because of what it is going to do for you. How is it going to help you get the results that you want? So again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to write that program, write that sales page as the coach, but I'm going to go back and intentionally edit it as the marketer, making sure that at every line, everything that I'm saying to you, I am making it as clear as possible as to why this thing is going to get you the result that you want, why this thing matters to you in terms of getting to where you want to be, so on and so forth. And I want to say this, I know I've said this again, many times, but I want to drive home the point that, a lot of people get into business and obviously have varying degrees of like marketing skills, copy skills. Fine. Obviously, that's life. But I just want to make sure that you're embracing here that when you choose to be a business owner, you are a marketer, you are a salesperson. So you have to, in my opinion, in my experience, take that extra step to make sure that you are making it as obvious and as easy to digest as possible for people so that they understand why they should purchase this thing. And I know that sometimes that can feel like convincing, but I really don't view it that way. It's just, I view it again as my job to be a marketer. And therefore I have to be smart and strategic in terms of making sure that you understand why purchasing my thing is going to do what you want it to do for you. That is my job. And therefore it's your job as well. And I just want to make sure that you are embracing that instead of acting like it comes second. I feel like a lot of people will, rush through program creation, rush through the creation of a sales page, and then they wonder why it's not converting instead of really taking the time to, again, write like a coach or, service provider, whatever you are, write like that person, and then make sure that you're editing it as the marketer and taking that extra step to make it as sexy and as juicy and as applicable to your ideal client as possible. And so the second hack here that I want to share with you, and I don't know if I should call this a hack at all because it's, so 101, while at the same time, this is not my first rodeo. And every single day I talk to somebody who is not doing this. If there was one tip that I believe would change your business, each and every one of you would double your income, it is to discipline yourself around talking to that ideal client. And I know I've talked about this a lot before, but again, like I said, a lot of people will not do this. And that's because they're, kind of giving into FOMO. There's a bunch of different reasons why people don't do it. But the bottom line is that effective sales copy that moves people, it's going to be the copy that actually does something to them emotionally. It gives them a feeling that like they can have what it is that they want, what they desire for themselves is possible. And we can't do that. We can't make them feel that with vague language. We can't make them feel that if we are just saying the most basic things with no specifics, no emotions, any of those kind of things. And so when we are writing our sales copy, it is crucial. Like I have literally at times printed out a picture of an ideal client and like literally taped it to my iMac so that I can look at that person and I cannot forget it. I am every single page, every single line on that sales page, I am writing to that person. And again, we do this because it makes you far more powerful in terms of your message because you're not saying one thing to one person and one thing to the next. But in the context of this episode, why I'm bringing this up is because when you are talking to somebody specific, this is where you're actually able to use specifics and make that person feel something a little bit more emotionally. So, a basic example that I can use here is if I say, I can help you take your business to the next level. Okay, fine. That means a million different things to a million different people. And it's a cliche term that we've heard over and over again. And so it doesn't really do anything to us emotionally. Whereas if I am speaking to that person who is making six figures right now, as an example, and she is, busy as hell. Her whole calendar is booked full of one-on-one clients. And she feels like she is, constantly stretched by them. Every single time she turns around, her Voxer notifications are going off. By the time she answers one person, she's already got 4 other messages from the other people. And she feels like she can't get out of that phase of her business, that can't get out of that quicksand, if you will. She can never get caught up because she is just drowning in one-on-one clients. And so everybody around her thinks that she has this great business and she's making great money. And that's true in a lot of ways, but she is really craving freedom. She is really craving being able to have creativity for herself and actually be able to do other things instead of being so weighed down by clients. And so me talking to her about those pain points and spelling those things out and saying that I remember what it feels like, but then again, turning around and saying like, here's how your business could be different with, again, specifics. I don't want to, share specifics for that as well, since I just did it. But if we go further into the specifics, that's where somebody can feel something. Right? I use this example many times, but I used to work with a lot of Beachbody coaches, as many of you know. And I remember one client specifically, she was talking about how she wanted to work with, new mothers. And she was just saying like, I was unhappy with my body after, I had the baby. And instead, us sitting there talking about like a really specific example of like when her husband wanted to take her on their first date night after she had given birth, and she literally was sitting there crying in her closet because she could not find anything that fit her. That emotional specific example is going to do so much more than you saying, hey, you're unhappy with your body and you're trying to speak to everybody and you're resisting giving specific examples. Those specifics are really what's going to make somebody feel connected to you. They're going to feel seen by you. And when they feel that, that's when they are actually going to move. And so again, I want you to discipline yourself around speaking to one ideal client, not just because it's important so that you can keep your message clear and powerful, but so that you can emotionally connect with that person and give yourself the permission to actually use specifics in your copy that are going to, like I said, connect with that person. But you can't do that if you're thinking about a million different ideal clients. It's far too hard to do that. And the third thing that I want to say, and this is an obvious point, but I know that a lot of us can forget this, and I will be fully honest with you that I'm not always the greatest at this. I want to remind you of the expression, you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. I'm from Jersey, right? Like I can have a tendency to be a little bit tough love, especially because, like I said, I talk to so many clients all day long and I see the mistakes that people are making. And I so deeply want to help you, want to shake you and like make you see what could be different for you. So I know sometimes, especially in the past, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at this, but I know that I've had a tendency of speaking to almost the pain points or speaking to like the tough love side of things. And I think that's purposeful. And I think that, there's a time and a place for that. But I remember having this moment for myself where I had gotten off a client call and I had felt like that client in particular was like so lit up and so inspired after us talking. And then I went to write a sales email, whatever it was. And I was so clearly witnessing myself talking in a different energy and recognizing that, Sarah, you just got off the call with this person that you inspired and this person felt so amazing. Why are you not giving yourself permission to do that in your marketing? And I think the answer to that question is because we want the sale. So often we're coming from this convincing energy. Like we think we're saying the things that we think are going to actually make that person move and buy. And again, there's validity to that in certain cases. But the bottom line is that I believe that it is my job to make people feel what is possible for them. So I want to spend far more time speaking to possibilities than speaking to what you're doing wrong. And I see so many people do this. And again, like I said, I definitely have struggled with this and I wasn't always the best at it. And so now I feel like because I see it a little bit differently, I feel like I'm very sensitive to it. Then when I see people who are constantly like shaming in their marketing or like kind of beating their people up and being like, you're doing this wrong, I trust that a lot of times it's coming from a good place. It's them saying, like them wanting to say, hey, this is what you're doing wrong and this is what could be different. And I get that, but nobody wants to feel shouted at. Nobody wants to feel scolded or made to feel wrong in their marketing. You're going to, again, attract far more bees with honey than vinegar. You're going to get far more people excited to open up your emails, to, read about what you have to say, if you are making sure that you are putting an emphasis on how you're making them feel. And again, with whatever you do, your job is to make people feel what is possible for them. If you're a website designer, you're making somebody feel and understand what is possible with a beautiful website, how impressed their ideal clients are going to be, how easy it's going to be for people to buy straight off the website. You're not saying like your website sucks right now and like this is what's wrong with it. Again, you're making them feel what is possible when it comes to the ultimate island bee, the thing that they want. That's going to make somebody way more excited. And again, people are going to be far more likely to pay you from an excited energy versus a wronged energy, right? Versus I'm behind, let me beat myself up. That's not an exciting place to invest from. So again, no matter what you do, you making sure that you are intentionally going through your copy, line by line and feeling into, am I making my person feel like anything is possible? Am I making my person feel what could possibly be different for them with my help? Doing those three things alone, I can promise you will transform your copy and therefore transform your sales. And, I know that it can be a little bit complicated. While I also think that all of those points are really simple. It's really about being intentional and taking your time with it, which, like I said, so often so many people don't do. And again, I'm guilty of that from time to time as well, because we want the sale, we want to get things moving, but being intentional, slowing down and truly saying what you want to say to that person in an effective way. Like I said, that is going to transform your sales. And if that is something that you need help with, which I know many of you do, I want you to know that selling effectively and authentically and confidently is possible for you with some tweaks, with some hacks, and You're Fucking Welcome, the program, will help you do exactly that. And so SarahDashDan.com, again, the extended payment plan expires this Friday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific, and we start next Tuesday. And so definitely head to the website to check that out, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you took the time to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps the show a ton, and I would be super grateful.